Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and I'm taking care of business. Joining me today is Annie Dormuth, who is Provincial Director for BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan for the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. Annie, big day coming up in Alberta tomorrow, which is March the 1st. Many health restrictions and restrictions that have been put in place by the government are being lifted tomorrow. Can you talk a little bit about some of these restrictions and the impact that they're going to have being eliminated? Number one, of course, is the mask. No longer required to wear a mask.
Well, definitely this is much anticipated and awaited news for many small businesses, especially those in the hospitality industry, being able to kind of resume pre-pandemic operations with no limits on tables or liquor service. So we were hoping to see, of course, the lifting of these restrictions perhaps a little bit sooner in stage one, but definitely this day has been on the calendar for many businesses, again, in the hospitality industry.
And one of the big ones, of course, is the mask, but a couple of other things out there for the hospitality industry that's going to be helpful is the capacity lifting of the capacity limits. There's also the being open till later and being able to serve alcohol later. Impacts that's going to have on the industry.
Well, definitely, again, hopefully we'll have a great impact. I mean, this is has consistently been one of the hardest hit industries throughout this entire pandemic. And hopefully all of these restrictions are now behind us. Now it's really up to the Alberta government as well to really become behind these businesses that are now being able to operate without restrictions and really start engaging on a messaging of consumer confidence and encouraging people to once again go out and return to these activities that government messaging from across Canada has been basically deemed unsafe to do for nearly 2 years now. And that's really what we're going to be looking for the Alberta government to really do as we get past March 1st and on to economic recovery.
And of course, this is not to prevent some businesses from keeping a mask mandate, so to speak, in their establishments. Is that the key? You can lift everything that you want, all the restrictions that you put in place, but that sentiment that maybe you're not still, you're still at risk, et cetera, needs to kind of go away before people can come en masse to these places.
Well, that is definitely one of the concerns we have consistently seen and heard from business owners throughout the removing and replacement of restrictions throughout the summer, even summer 2021 there, even throughout the summer, we really did not see a huge uptick in the number of businesses back to pre-pandemic revenues or normal sales. So again, something we're going to be carefully watching through as we get through yet another kind of round of reopening. And again, that is definitely one of the concerns for business owners. And of course, business owners may decide, as we saw with the ending of the proof of vaccination, decide to keep some of these restrictions in place. It's important to note that a majority, I'm talking 70 to 80% of Alberta small businesses do support the removing of all COVID-19 restrictions. However, of course, there are going to be some small businesses in consultation with perhaps their staff or themselves decide to keep some of these protocols in place. And that's where I call on all consumers to really have that understanding and not name and shame businesses or vilify them on social media or anything like that.
Yeah.
Of course, now is more important to always rally behind our small businesses.
One of the other things that really hasn't been talked about in some of the lifting of these restrictions is the mandatory work from home order the province has. What impact is that going to have, particularly when you look at the downtown and how many businesses, whether they're restaurants, bars, retailers, are affected by the traffic in the downtown core?
Well, definitely, this has been a work from home order that has been pretty much in place for, I would have to say, a majority of the last 2 years here. We've continually heard from downtown business associations and groups that this is definitely a damaging public health order to our critical downtown core businesses. So again, very eager to see how that will impact downtown businesses. And of course, definitely welcome news for many of those in downtown areas in across Alberta, really.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thanks, Annie, for joining us today.
Of course, anytime, Mario.
All right, that was Annie Dormuth, who is Provincial Director for BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan for the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. I'm Mario Toneguzzi. This has been Taking Care of Business. Thanks for joining us today.